Hi everyone, it's Sina here. I have been working on some backgrounds in my art journal and I thought I would take a minute and show you one of the many ways you can create really vibrant backgrounds in your art journal pages without spending a lot of money or going through a lot of work. So I have created these backgrounds using the Distress ink, Tim Holtz Distress ink. So I wanted to just talk to you about how I did that. This one, these are analogous color combinations. This one is blues with a bit of lavender. I hope you can sort of see that. And this one is sort of pink with some orange. And this one's actually my favorite one. I'm going to show you how I did that, but I wanted to just talk to you briefly about the color wheel, because I don't know if you have invested in a color wheel, but they're really quite handy. They're only a few dollars. Analogous simply means that you take, so let's say we're going to do yellow-green, you sort of go with not more than 5 colors in total in either direction. So you could go yellow-green with yellow or yellow-orange, yellow-green with green or blue, and so on. So in this one, I did yellow-orange. If I spin all the way around here, I did yellow-orange, which you can see here, and I did a red-orange. And then I added a little bit of orange, so here, a little bit of pink. So here were the colors that I used. I used Tattered Rose, which might be like one of these. I used Wild Honey, which you can sort of see is definitely a match with the yellow-orange. And then I used a Festive Berry, which is kind of, it's almost like a corally pinky color. And so if I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, what look I wanted, I could use the color wheel to help me choose my colors. So another example would be the first sheet that I showed you. This one, if I turn my color wheel around, I started with the lightest of the main colors. So I used Stormy Sky, which is essentially one of these light blue colors here. And then I went with a darker blue, the Faded Jean, which is just further down the same color. And then for a little accent, I used Milled Lavender, which is, if you look over here, it's kind of a grayish purple, and it would fall into one of these categories. So you can see I haven't gone more than 5 steps away from my original color. So I wanted to show you one that I'm going to do now. And it's so easy. I have these Distress inks sitting here. I went crazy trying to collect them all, and I thought, why aren't I using these? That purple, by the way, so there it is. It's the larger of these dots. When I did the Faded Jean, I went back with a stencil and just used a more concentrated color here. So although it's 3 colors, it looks maybe like there's more, but there's only 3. So I'm using heavy watercolor paper, my favorite kind of paper. And I wanted to do something with teal or a blue-green. So I'm going to turn my wheel to blue-green. And here are the options that I can have. I mean, I can turn this any way I want. I can use blue-green with purple, but I kind of want to use some yellow. So I'm going to go with blue-green, which in my Distress ink collection is the peacock feathers. And then I want kind of an orangey yellow. So if I go this way, still within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I have Marigold, which is an orangey yellow color, an orangey yellow for sure. And then I'm going to go straight with yellow and use Squeeze Lemonade. So those are the 3 that I'm going to choose. Now, when I was looking at this, I have this crazy tin here filled with all kinds of Distress inks. And I was originally wanting to use this persimmon color that I have. I thought it looked really cool, but I tried it out first, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's rather red here. So we've got a yellowish orange, a teal, and red, and it was not working for me at all. And so actually I went back and looked at the color wheel, and I thought, you know what, if you look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that persimmon, that red-orange color, is not within this rule we've established of the 5. It's actually outside by 2, and that's, for whatever artistic reason, is not a color that's going to work. So there's actually some merit to this, but through trial and error, but I still recommend you take a scrap piece of paper and you just try the colors that you want instead. So put that back, and I have, oops, some of my stuff. My daughter and I went through and we organized all those, and we put little labels of the names on there, but they don't always stick. Okay, so I'm using these larger Ranger pads here. You don't have, I mean, you could use a makeup sponge. You can get those at the dollar store. I prefer them because they cover, these larger ones, because they cover a little more surface area. If you, I always keep an old magazine by and some scrap paper. So if you don't have a lot of extras, just wipe it on a scrap piece of paper until basically no more color is coming off. Because you know what, I don't have a lot of these larger ones. So that's going to be my lemonade yellow. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. So that's going to be my lemonade yellow. I'm going to use this old red one here. Oh, okay. That's going to be my marigold. And then I just need one for the peacock. And I think I have a blue one from last night. This one here. I'm going to make sure. So I'll clean that off when I have it on this thing before we get started. Okay, so what I do is I start with the lightest color and I just kind of splooch it around. So if I take my latest color, which is the yellow, okay, and just do that. If you come at it from, I'm going to zoom. Oh my gosh, this is a new camera and I'm still learning how to use it. I'm going to come at it from the side and you can see that it's just going to lay some color down. Now I'm going to be fairly random with it at first. And you have to remember with distress inks, if you put yellow down and then you put a blue over top, you're going to get some green. So if that's what you're going for, great. If not, then maybe you want to lighten up on the yellow at first. Okay, so I'm just going to do that much with yellow. Put it there, it's handy. Then I'm going to go in with my, well, you can choose anyone. Since I've got this set up, I'm going to go in with the marigold. And again, I'm going to start off the side just so I don't get a lot of splooches. And the marigold is going to maybe be a little more of my accent color because I want a lot of blue, but I'm just going to put a little bit down so I can get an idea of how that's going to look. Okay, and because that's my accent color, I'll take this one off. Hold this down when you take these sponges off because I didn't do that, and the other one, it's this one, see? The staple came out and I have to be a lot more gentle with it now, so. All right, so I'm gonna clean off this blue ink pad thingamabobber. Okay, so now we've got our peacock. And because this is super dark, we definitely want to start off on the edge because when you first start, that's where all the color is. So if I start right in the middle, I'm actually barely going to touch the page because there's a lot of ink on the pad. And if you get that, don't worry about it. You can go back in with your other colors later and fix it up. So I just keep turning my page around. And I know that the orange, the marigold, is really going to make the blue stand out. So I'm leaving some white patches. That's okay. You can see my fingerprints there. That's okay. And I'm going back fairly frequently to the ink pad. That looks like an outline of this ink pad, which I don't like. So you just sort of go to the end of it and you just continue to blend. Just hold up a little end of it like that. There I've gone over the yellow and it's starting to look a little bit green, which I like because it's that really blended look. Okay, that's a good amount of blue. And you just keep building up your color. Just keep building, building, building. Okay, so I'm going to go in with the marigold. This is what happens to your finger. They start to get all icky, so it's a good idea to keep a Kleenex nearby or a wet wipe or something like that. Okay, so where these white spots are, I'm going to go in very gently, and I'm going to start putting in some color there. Don't be afraid to blend over the colors you've already done. Now, if you thought that the marigold was too dull a color, like it's not as vibrant as some of the other oranges, you can go ahead and switch. So I can go in with a spiced marmalade, because if we look, yellow, orange, okay, we're still there. Oh, we're one outside. So where's that scrap piece of paper? Okay, this is where this comes in handy. So here are the colors that I was using. I get my marmalade, and I see if I like it, because you know what, a rule's a rule until you don't want it to be a rule anymore. And I actually really like that. It's not too red, so I'm going to go ahead and try sparse marmalade. Because I already have the marigold on, I'm just going to take the spice marmalade and go right over the top. And you can see that you're getting more orange, and it's turning it a little bit green. And the other thing to remember about backgrounds is it's exactly that. The background, a lot of it's going to get covered up. This is a good thing to do if you're not sure where to start on a journal page. Now look, I've got fingerprints there, so I should probably use a Kleenex. I'll go back over that. And you know what? That can be easily covered up. Okay, so it's starting to look a little more marbleized now. Go back in with a little bit of blue, hide my fingertips. This will dry, so you will be able to touch it without. Now, I like to do some parts that are really, really dark, especially along the edges, and it just gives a nice bit of contrast. So I'm going to go over here, put some in there, join it up over here with this blue, and you can see it's starting to look a little more purposeful. If you like it with white, by all means leave it lighter, or you can maybe choose lighter, lighter blues. Okay, I want to go in and try and clean up my I'm going to pull this off. Oh, this is one. I only have two at the moment that are out. I'll wipe that off, and I'll go back in with some yellow. And with the exception of that fingerprint there, that's going to bug me, which I will be sure to cover up when I'm actually laying other materials down over top. I think I'm just about done here. I'm going to just go in and add a little bit more blue here. This is actually really fun. It's kind of like finger painting for grown-ups. Okay, so spin it around. You can decide which is going to be the top, which is going to be the bottom. If that were really bugging you, like it is me, take that color and just really purposefully marble it out with something like that. I don't hate that as much as I hated my fingerprint, so that works for me. Okay, and there you go. You've got like a really marbleized piece of background that is ready to use whenever you want to get started on something. You ever have those days when you have an idea, you don't want to waste time doing a background? I have those days. I would probably grab something like this. Okay, so that is a really easy way to create. Let me show you how that turned out. It almost looks to me like clouds, like a sunset, maybe. It doesn't have to be. And then there is probably a good idea to keep the lids on those guys. So there you have it. We've got that. Wrong way. Okay, so we've got two of those. Now I could go back in and I could put stenciling over the top, like I did with this one, or I can leave it because maybe I'm not sure what I want to do with it yet. But you can certainly keep on going. And so there you have it. There is a way to do easy backgrounds with distress ink and nothing else. See you next time. Bye.